So for the past couple of weeks, I haven't really been proud of myself. My self-respect has gone down slightly, and that's really come from not being as productive as I'm used to being. And there are a range of factors that have come into play. My routine's been quite chaotic, with a lot of travel for work and leisure. I've not been sleeping at consistent times. I've not had my usual environment where I do deep work. I've had to work out at random points in the day. I missed a couple of days of meditation. Maybe didn't have the cleanest diet. The diet stayed pretty good, but there were a couple of indulgent meals here and there. Nothing crazy, but still not up to my usual standards. My shoulder's been twinging for the past week, and it's meant that I've not been able to lift as hard. I haven't really been feeling that soreness that is so satisfying after a workout. And it's just little things that have stacked up, and it's kind of made me think about this idea of losing momentum and hitting a rut and plateauing in your progress towards your goals. So I thought I'd make this unedited video about any guy who is out there struggling with this right now and maybe is feeling quite deflated in pursuing their goals. I think it's fair to say that we've all had this experience at least once. If you've ever strived towards anything, you'll have found yourself losing momentum, taking your foot off the gas. But you have to understand, and as much as it hurts my ego too, you have to understand that this is part and parcel of any pursuit. You're not always going to be hitting your max level of productivity and breaking records, maybe whether it's a PR in the gym or in terms of the amount of deep work that you produce in a day. No business out there has record-breaking profits year on year. They will have years where profits are below expectations, or sometimes they even make a loss. The success or the love in your relationship is not always going to be going up and up and up. Sometimes you'll get periods where the relationship feels quite stale, maybe quite distant, and the same with progress towards your other goals, in your business, in your studies, in your career. I'm trying to channel some stoicism here, and I think you should too. And you try to take the situation, see it for what it is, and then do your best to react in the appropriate way. And I recommend, and this is what I've done literally today, is setting your bar below what you're used to performing at. And this is so hard because it's so painful for the ego. It really makes you feel like a lesser version of yourself, when instead, maybe let's say you're used to working out for 2 hours a day, and you just asked to work out for 1 hour a day. Or maybe that's a bad example. Let's say something like you are used to doing 3 hours of work in the morning, but you now have to cut it down to half an hour because you just can't focus because you've been scrolling too much, or you've really messed up your sleep pattern and you've been lying in until 9-10 a.m. So instead of doing your normal 6 a.m. wake up, you now have to scale it back to getting up at 8 a.m. and then 7:30. And like someone who was waking up at 6 a.m. before, you still feel lazy for getting up at 8. But the thing is, you have to understand that your level is always fluctuating. You don't lock in, you don't save your progress. It will slowly decline. Your level will slowly decline when you're hitting a rut. So you have to start with a new level that's accessible enough from which you can start building again. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to counteract this vicious cycle of setting a goal, failing, and then getting frustrated. And then you say, tomorrow I'm going to do even more than what I promised myself today, which you failed at anyway. It just sets you up for even more failure and more frustration. So essentially, we want to set a goal that's accessible enough. It's almost just insulting at how easy it is, that we can easily hit, and we can start getting the snowball effect working in our favor. So, for example, today I purely set myself the goal of having a cold shower, which I usually do, meditating, which I actually still haven't done. I'll do it after recording this video, hitting a workout, and just recording and uploading one video. Sometimes, I'll be scripting multiple videos and recording more than one in a day. And I just thought, well, I'm just going to keep it simple and just stick with one and actually hit that goal, because I haven't been hitting the uploading goals lately. I'm also working on a course separately, which I'll be announcing soon. and I've made no progress towards that in the past week. Previously I was scripting it, I was recording it. So maybe tomorrow I'm going to set a goal to spend half an hour at least coming up with content for it, if not actually recording some of it. I'd ideally want to record an entire module in a day. That would be great, but I recognize that I don't want to set myself up for failure, because that's not going to reverse that negative momentum, that rut. I've also been thinking about putting these periods into perspective, because it can be very easy to adopt a bleak mindset and say, oh, I've hit a rut, I'm never going to amount to anything, and just feel demotivated and think that, oh, there's no point anyway, let me just throw away all my discipline because I'm just not going to succeed. You have to remember that this is a lifetime pursuit. Whatever goal you have of developing yourself, of achieving financial freedom, or achieving your fitness goals, relationship goals, this is a game that never ends. You can always level up in it. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is reverse the momentum, the negative momentum. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is reverse the momentum, the negative momentum, as quickly as you can, and not dwell on the fact that you've had a rut, that you've plateaued, or that you've indulged in some bad habits, but just reverse the trend as quickly as you can. Because in the grand scheme of things, you being in a rut for 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month even, if you counteract that with 10 years of actual progress, then it's just not going to matter. And if anything, you should kind of bathe into the feeling that you're experiencing if you are in a rut, that loss of self-respect. You look at yourself in the mirror and you don't really, like, you're just not proud. For example, that's how I've been feeling, at least. I just look at myself and I'm just not proud of who I've been for the past 1 or 2 weeks, in this rut. And it sucks. Like, you don't want to feel like that again, do you? So, let it sting, let it hurt your ego. Like, feel your ego getting bruised by, this terrible self-image you have of yourself now. You look at this man and he's just not impressive. He's not all that. He's been messing around, he's been scrolling, he's just not worked out, or he's not done his deep work. Right? You don't respect that guy. So don't keep being that guy. Run away from that version of yourself. You use that fear and frustration to move away from it. So this was just a stream of consciousness on hitting a rut, losing momentum, and how you can actually counteract it, and why it's not the end of the world, but you should take action sooner rather than later. If you are experiencing a rut and you're doing something to handle it, then let me know your tactics in the comments below. I'm sure the community will appreciate hearing your ideas. And if you agree or disagree with any of these points, then also feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.